So, what if the last few years of American foreign policy, which have often looked pretty chaotic from the outside, weren't chaotic at all? Today, we're diving into a really provocative theory that argues it's all part of a very deliberate, very meticulous grand strategy, a plan to completely redesign America's role in the world. And it kicks off with this incredibly bold statement right here. The core idea is that we are living through a massive and possibly peaceful shift in global power, and that it's all happening by design.
So what is that design? Well, the central thesis we're exploring today is that this isn't random. It's a six-point master plan to first, dismantle the entire global order that was set up after World War II, and second, to build a brand new one centered on an American economic empire.
All right, so let's get into it. Let's try to unveil this so-called blueprint. We're going to break down the 6 key pillars that, according to this theory, make up the foundation of this new world order. And here they are, the 6 big pillars of this new empire. It all starts with energy dominance, then moves to ending old security burdens. From there, it's about a hemisphere-first strategy, restoring the military and conquering space, dealing with China, and finally, dismantling what the source calls the globalist machine. Let's see how these pieces are supposed to fit together.
So let's start at the very bottom, with the foundation of this entire strategy, energy and security. The argument is that without absolute control over these two things, none of the other steps are even possible. Okay, pillar 1, it's all about energy dominance. The theory goes like this. If America becomes a net energy exporter, it can basically pull the center of gravity of global energy markets away from the Middle East and Russia. And the result? Huge global leverage for the US, all without getting bogged down in endless conflicts over there. Now, that energy independence leads directly to pillar 2, shifting the security burden. You can see the contrast here. The idea is to move away from that post-World War II model where America was basically the world's police force. In the new model, the message is clear. Allies have to pay up and defend themselves because America's main focus is shifting back to its own neighborhood. And that brings us right to pillar 3, reclaiming the hemisphere. This is where the theory starts connecting a bunch of geopolitical moves that might seem totally random, but it frames them as part of a modern-day Monroe doctrine. And this really is the central question the source material poses, right? Are all the things we've been seeing just a series of impulsive, random actions? Or are they actually calculated moves in a much, much larger game? Well, according to this theory, absolutely nothing is random. The talk about Greenland, that's about securing rare earth minerals and getting a foothold on new Arctic shipping lanes. The focus on the Panama Canal, Cuba, and Venezuela, all of it, the theory argues, is about pushing Russian and Chinese influence out. The big goal, the whole point, is to make the Western Hemisphere an exclusive American sphere of influence once again. Okay, so from reclaiming the ground, we move to pillar 4, which is all about taking the ultimate high ground. This is a 2-part plan: rebuild traditional military might and, at the same time, completely conquer the new frontier of space. The source describes a really fast, really total transformation of the U.S. military. The claim is that it went from a perceived low point to being the most powerful and feared force on the planet. The whole strategy here is built on the idea of creating peace through just overwhelming strength. But it's not just about traditional military power. A huge and maybe overlooked part of this theory is the focus on the space economy. This is seen as the next massive economic frontier, kind of like where AI is now. And the strategy is to position the U.S., specifically Florida's coast, to be the undisputed leader of this whole new world of industry and wealth. And that brings us to the last 2 pillars. According to this theory, this is the main event. It's framed as the decisive battle, a war fought on 2 fronts. One is economic, against a rival superpower like China, and the other is ideological, against globalism itself. So how do you declaw China, as the source puts it? Well, the strategy isn't military at all, it's entirely economic. It's a multi-step attack. You use tariffs and tech controls to slow them down. At the same time, you bring American factories back home. You break their monopoly on rare earth minerals, and you use America's cheap energy to win the AI arms race. Now, to understand that final pillar, dismantling the globalist machine, the source uses this really powerful metaphor. The argument is that the American economy is like a massive V12 engine, but that post-World War II globalist policies, the web of international trade deals and organizations, were basically forcing that engine to run on just 3 of its 12 cylinders.
So if the engine is throttled, what's the fix? Well, according to this theory, you don't just tune it up, you perform a complete overhaul. You have to systematically rip out all the old wiring, all the old regulations, trade deals, and policies that were allegedly designed to manage America's decline and plug it into a global system. And what's the ultimate goal of all this? It's to rebuild that engine from the ground up, to remove all the restrictions so that the full, raw power of the American economy can finally be unleashed and, as the source so simply puts it, just cook. So that's the 6-point plan. And this all brings us to the theory's conclusion, which frames this entire moment as something much bigger than a policy shift. It's seen as a historic, incredibly high-stakes turning point for the whole country. And according to this theory, the stakes just couldn't be any higher. This isn't just another political debate. It's framed as a genuine historical crossroads, a moment that future historians will look back on as the point where America either turned the corner or died. And so we end with the big question this theory leaves us hanging with. 25 years from now, when people look back, will all of this just be seen as a period of chaos and disruption? Or will it be viewed as the painful but necessary execution of a breathtakingly complex and grand vision? The source makes its argument pretty clear, but in the end, it leaves that final judgment to history.